You're listening to Kendrick Loves to Brand, the branding podcast featuring stories and lessons from entrepreneurs and brand builders so you can get inspiration, insights, strategies, and tactics as you create your own game-changing brand.
All right, so welcome to another edition of the Kendrick Loves to Brand podcast. Happy New Year to everyone. And today, joining us in the show is the founder of Got Heart, Earth Kitchen, and the CEO of Greenstone Pharmaceuticals, which is the maker of Katinko products. Welcome to the show, Melissa Yeung Yap.
Hi, everyone. Hello, Kendrick. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, how are you, Melissa? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, actually, it was funny. We were just chatting, before we started recording, and almost a year na in the making tong episode. We originally connected nung I think March, no? March of 2020, no? Or
in Xavier.
Yeah, in Xavier. Okay, for their event about social entrepreneurship. So finally, we were able to reconnect to do this. So how was your 2020? I guess that's the familiar question that everyone throws around, no?
For 2020, I got to practice my crisis management skills, or I had to bring out whatever skill I had and really squeeze out every bit of me to help out in whatever way I can. That's my 2020.
Obviously you have several businesses, enterprises that you're juggling. No? How was it having to manage, throughout this crisis, the three different companies or ventures that you have, and which among the three probably, siguro, did you find it more difficult, I guess, to navigate throughout the crisis, or was it all the same?
I guess the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life is Got Heart's project, the Bunny project, just because at that time it was really an emergency. So the PPE crisis that the country faced, and then we turned it into a project, like first a donation drive, and then it spun into a huge livelihood project in Tarlac. So we were addressing emergencies literally 24/7. So yeah, that was crazy, but it was very fulfilling.
When like how long how deep into the pandemic were you when you decided to do the PPE, yung itong project na to? Was it like an instant thing na, during this time because of the shortage? That was the immediate parang action plan that you took?
Yeah, it was instantaneous pretty much. Like we just donated the PPEs of our factory workers in Katinko because our doctor friends found out that they informed us about the shortage, and when we were exploring options, they said patingin ng mga PPE ng employees. So we shared photos with them and said, pwede na yan kaysa sa mga naka-plastic lang kami, ganyan. They're really scared for their lives. So we just donated everything that we could, and then it kind of went viral. Like from Luzon to Mindanao, hospitals are calling us, asking if we still had. And we squeezed out every bit of inventory that we had. Wow. And then we turned it into a livelihood project. So it was really...
In total, last year, how many PPEs did Got Heart make and donate?
We stopped counting at 50,000. So
wow.
Everything was recorded until towards the end. They were more orders na, not na emergency. So they were more but the donations were strictly recorded piece by piece. So
wow, that is amazing. Galing. Before we talk more about the current situation of the brands and Got Heart and Earth Kitchen, let's take a trip back in time to at the very start. How did you decide, or when did you decide to become an entrepreneur, and with all the ventures that you have, from the start of when you decided and until siguro yung timeline of when you decided to start each of the ventures.
Okay. So, ironically, I really did not want to be an entrepreneur. I grew up in an enterprising family. We have our family
Okay.
business and things like that. But I'm okay with helping out, but I really wanted to be an NGO worker. I'm serious. I was
Okay.
so serious about it. I really wanted to either work in an orphanage or work, and then eventually I learned about indigenous people in college. I really wanted to live in the mountains with the indigenous people, and I was there right after college. During college, I'd fly as soon as I can during breaks to be there in the mountains, talk to communities or volunteer with NGOs. And then as soon as I graduated, I flew to Mindanao. I took a lot of projects with NGOs. I was so happy with my 3,000 a month allowance, doing things that I want to do. I just use it to buy body wash. That's it. Alcohol body wash and Kleenex. That's my kaartehan. And then there. And then when I was there, I was tasked to evaluate livelihood projects because the NGOs needed to report back to the funding agencies. And that was when I got to learn about the challenges that the communities face. And they kept on asking me for advice because I look Chinese. So they assume that Chinese are good with business. So they asked me how to improve on their livelihood. But I wasn't an expert because I kind of veered away from it. I took up development studies and I didn't know what to say. And as a researcher, it's also part of the discipline for you not to give advice. The discipline given to us
Okay.
as researchers is for us to just ask questions and listen and ask more questions, clarificatory questions and things like that. Document. Those were the stuff given to me as my job. So I really didn't know what to do. So I was there in Mindanao to take up anthropology. So instead of taking up anthropology, came back to Manila and took up entrepreneurship instead. Because my challenge for
Okay.
myself was that when they ask me again, I should be able to kind of give some sort of help or advice that they need in a concrete way. So that was after
Okay.
college now when I decided. And that was how Got Heart came about. 2007 was when I graduated. That was the year when I went to the mountain. That was the year when I enrolled in AIM and established Got Heart 2007.
Okay. So before we continue with Gotthard and your other ventures, I'm just curious. No, like you mentioned, you come from a family with with a family business. What was the line of business of your family back then?
So it's really pharmaceutical, Greenstone Pharmaceutical. So we manufacture Katinko and the other products that we have.
So growing up, I mean, syempre coming from a Chinese family, also,
It's a
parang I
Filipino
think
Chinese. Yeah. My mom is
Filipino Chinese,
pure
yeah, correct.
Filipina. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so like what I'm sure there was diba, yung parang typical pressure diba, for the kids to help out in the business or to eventually join the business. What was it in your early years that made you want to veer away from that to go into to a different line of work, basically?
Because I had two brothers who were already there, and just kind of felt like it was crowded. And I wanted to kind of have my own path, and I really find meaning in working with the community. So I just felt like since I was the youngest, I could afford to not be there because my brothers
Okay.
are both capable naman of doing that.
And how
So
did your parents take the like your yearning to like go to the mountains to be an anthropologist, yung ganung line parang kasi that's not diba, parang I would say common sa parang
yeah.
Filipino Chinese na community, diba, parang anong gagawin mo doon, diba, parang. So how did they take that when you said that this is what you want to do, this is what you enjoy doing? Were they supportive? Did they question your thinking about it?
Yeah. It was quite challenging. I kind of drove them crazy, but I still drive them a bit crazy until now. But I've always been I've always been that if I really want something and if I find meaning in that, I would really do it. So yeah, like there are days when they can't contact me because I'm in the mountains, right? So it could kind of
Yeah, I'm sure that drove
yeah.
them crazy. Being you were the youngest, and you're the only daughter, tama ba?
Yeah.
So parang imagine parang
Yeah. So
so
yeah.
coming from that, when you took up entrepreneurship in AIM, the venture that you started was Got Heart. So tell us about what Got Heart and what Got Heart does.
So at that time, my mentor, Father Ben, told me that. So I shared with him everything, my thoughts, how I was gonna do things, and I said I really want anthropology, or you want to work in the mountains, but I really need entrepreneurship help, but I'm not into that. But he said, there's no getting away from that. I was left with no choice. And if you really want to help, of course. I mean, I kind of knew what to do. I just didn't want to do it, but I forced
Mm.
myself to, and I eventually loved it. So there, yeah, just decided to really commit to doing that.
So what does Got Heart do exactly?
Yeah. So at that time, 2007, social entrepreneurship was a buzzword already, but there weren't a lot of
Mhm.
models to actually follow or something. And then there, so I just wanted to try it out, to see it for myself, to make mistakes, and maybe just really try it out to see how this actually, because conceptually it was great, but like doing it actually, it's kind of like a trial and error for me. It still is kind of right now. So I wanted it to be a platform for social entrepreneurship, for communities to actually have something, like a bridge that would bring in opportunities for them, for their social enterprises, for the grassroots community enterprises. So it's really that. So we do everything that we can within our reach. Like, for example, for the Bunny project, it was helping source raw materials, looking for all the mananahes, doing logistics. It was really like the whole supply chain management,
Yeah.
and making sure that they get the mananahes get the best part of the deal and things like that, and that the doctors that need the frontliners that need the most help gets the products right away, and they get prioritized first, or something like that.
So
That's
the
for that
products
particular, yeah.
the products are mostly parang hand sewn, or is it depending on what is the need? Parang ganun ba?
Yeah, so we have more than 200 communities all over the country. It's almost
Wow.
300. We keep on updating our database. So it depends on the need, but our goal is, once we see the demand, our goal is to automatically connect it as soon as we can to a
Mm.
community that can benefit from a demand.
So who organizes the community, and who does the training for, like, itong community will do this kind of work or this kind of livelihood? Who does all of that in your team, or is that all you, like 200
Ah,
communities?
no. So we have a network. We're if there's something that we're strong with, it's our network of everyone who can help out. So specifically for the Bunny project, we got help from the provincial government of Tarlac. They have a training program. So the TPNP group, they're the ones that train a lot of the people how to sew, and they get funding for them to get sewing machines. So when there was a clear need to address, we uh, we helped source all of the raw materials, and we contacted them to go through like 5 different towns. There were 209 of these mananahes that they helped us
Okay,
look for and distribute the
nice.
materials to, and everything. That's specifically for that project. For the others, so there's government and non-government. We just really connect with whoever. Like, we actively look for people, or people actively look for us, and we
Mm.
we just keep on collaborating and collaborating.
So how big is your team in Gotthard? Like who, like the people working with you to help like run this whole venture?
Our definition of team is probably quite different from norm or from not norm, from regular description, because we don't have a huge overhead because we tried it before and we just kept on having a lot of headaches. So now we maximize the networks that we have. So example, for the Tarlac provincial training, for the TPNP people, so their goal is to get people jobs. So we work with them. So we don't have to pay them, but they're part of our team. They kind of get what I
Okay,
mean. So
got it.
we
Yeah.
align our goals. So they get to not just train people, but actually give them super solid income. And we tap them. So when I say we, it's really my friends and myself, or the head of this livelihood project, or the governor, the mayor, whoever is most vital in a particular project. So it's trying to be more strategic about it so that we won't just keep on spending our money on overhead, but on actual operations to get resources to the people and opportunities to the people. I'm not sure
What
if I'm making sense here, but that's pretty much how
you
we.
are, you are. Actually, that makes more sense nga parang it's more lean, eh, diba? Kasi
Yeah,
it's hard nga if the overhead keeps growing, and then parang the impact that you can do is a bit parang hindi naman limited, pero not as much kasi parang nakakain din ng overhead. So at least with how you're doing it, you're able to really maximize the impact, no? What has been the like siguro biggest misconception about entrepreneurs or social enterprises that you've experienced, or that that you've seen or heard other people when you tell them that you're a social entrepreneur?
so one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's it's crazy hard and challenging. I mean, it is, but it's just I had to. This is my personal take. I had to have a mindset change where I just really had to manage it like a regular company. It's just that I don't have shareholders. If you get what I
Okay.
mean.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna die for this, something like that. I mean, I can enjoy it. I can enjoy doing this, and I have to find it. It's not like a sacrifice. If I mean, of
Mhm.
course, we need to sacrifice, but not in a debilitating way. Not in an overwhelming way. So I just kind of look at everything the same way now. Like it just has to be sustainable. It has to have business growth. It has to benefit communities. But at the same time, I don't have to die while doing it. Because before I'm still crazy passionate about it, but in a more non self harming way. If I'm
Mm.
making sense. Like before,
Yeah, kasi
I'm like,
I think parang what you're explaining is also something na kasi like that was one of the questions actually I got nung event na, and sometimes when I talk about social entrepreneurship, um parang yung question na how can I help others when I'm also not parang kumbaga where I am, where I want to be in life. Parang yun yung ibang question na nakukuha ko, diba? So I guess what you're saying is it doesn't necessarily mean na if you're a social entrepreneur na parang nilulugi mo yung sarili mo. Not
yeah,
maybe not monetarily, but through your sacrifices, parang ganun. So what you're
exactly,
saying is
yeah.
it doesn't have to be like that, or it doesn't necessarily have to be the case na ganun. So it can be a fulfilling venture na you could be making, di ba, some money, maybe not maximizing your profits, but hindi naman in a way na parang nagugutom ka to be able to help.
Exactly. So in my case, the most practical way that I got to address that was that when I was asked to become CEO of the company, I had to be practical and I said yes. Because like when the social enterprises make money, I don't want the money to come to me. I want it to be given back fully to the community. And the only way I can afford it is if I have another job that also sustains me.
Yeah.
So, and it just so happened that it complemented each other. So I wasn't compromising on either one. So I'm learning a lot of these supply chain management, operations, everything like a proper company can, like having an experience in a proper company can teach me. And at the same time, I can apply it to the social enterprise, and also like learning from the community and building relationships with the people. I also try to, apply as much as I can with that in our HR practices, in our community relations. So that's how I kind of got to balance things out. Because
So what?
if I were just, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Because just to
So
share, just to be completely vulnerable about it, when I was just doing the social enterprise before, I mean, it was sustainable, but I was kind of like, okay, how much should I get? How much should the community get? Parang, now I don't have that
mm,
toss up anymore. Now all of everything with the social enterprise goes back to the community, and my salary in the company goes to me. So at least I have kind of that balance.
correct.
It's because that's how it's been designed. That's how it's been designed for myself. Not sure how
Well,
applicable it would be for other people, but yeah,
well, actually, that's actually very practical. Kasi, um, I think in general, like whether you're an entrepreneur, like like a for-profit entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur, I think that's one of the key things, especially for aspiring entrepreneurs, to keep in mind, that you shouldn't have to sacrifice your own, kumbaga, parang financial well-being, di ba? Maybe at the very start, but I think it's just fair naman to also think about it kasi I mean, be like I remember when I was starting out, parang yun din yung struggle, diba? Like, how much do I pay myself for my own company, for for what I'm doing for the company, diba? And I think that
yeah,
it's a healthy perspective to keep in mind that you are separate. The entrepreneur is still separate from the company in the sense that you also have your needs, especially if you have a family, or people that you're supporting. You also need to be able to take care of yourself so that then you can be able to do your best to take care of the company or the enterprise. So definitely what you're saying is even more, and I think it's valuable, like especially for people who want to get into social entrepreneurship, that it might be a good idea to have that second company, maybe for like purely for profit, where you can get your like personal finances supported, diba? Kumbaga, para at least as a social enterprise, you can focus more on the impact.
yeah. Like, and then also by doing that, you also get the chance to convert a purely for-profit company into a socially relevant company. So
Correct. Yes.
you kind of get to influence each other, to influence your social enterprise to be a lot more financially sustainable while having that social impact, and at the same time, you know, manage a for-profit company and create projects or program it to be socially relevant. So that was, it kind of gave me that balance, and also that personal well-being where you help people, but you have to be okay too. Yeah, it's
Yes.
so
Correct.
hard to. I went into bouts of depression because I had so many goals for the community. I really wanted to help them out, but of course, it doesn't always come by easy. So now
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of breathe and forgive myself if I don't like hit my goals and things. Mm.
That's a very admirable thing to hear. So what came first? So you mentioned that you joined the company, the family business. So what came first? Did you join the family business first in Greenstone, or did you set up Earth Kitchen? Like which came first?
Okay, so Gotthard first, and then 2 years after Greenstone, and
Okay.
then several years later, the Gotthard Shop and Earth Kitchen.
Mm.
So
So
parang
why did
I'm
you start Earth Kitchen? Like what was the inspiration for that?
looking back, I might have gotten a lot of business insights managing the company, right? Parang the social goals were super crystal clear. It hasn't changed from the beginning until now. It's really uplifting people's lives. But how? That was the difficult part. I tried so many things, and so many things failed. Some succeeded. And when I managed the company, kind of learned how to. This is how, like, the entrepreneurship thing, kind of like a learning while doing thing, and then the Got Heart shop. So a lot of the communities that we work with, all 200 plus communities, all need help in selling, marketing, getting in touch with the market because they're in the far-flung areas. I mean, it's so hard for them to know the trends and things like that, or getting to know customers and stuff, and kind of stuck in. Especially we work with indigenous people, so it's been the designs have been the same. Or like the farming communities would have no idea what arugula is. Those things. I mean, if they've been planting rice all their lives for I don't know how many generations, or sugar or something. So the innovation part. So we've decided to focus on two critical things. It's selling, marketing, and innovation. So that's how the Got Heart shop came about first. And then eventually, so we had a lot of gulay, a lot of vegetables. And then our customers would say, why don't you put up an organic restaurant?
Okay.
So there. So it's really like a market demand. So we see opportunities. And then called my friends who are good with food businesses. And then we partnered. There.
Actually, side story. Earth Kitchen was where our friends organized baby shower ng wife ko eh. Back over 5-6 years ago. So
nice.
nakakatuwa lang to reminisce while I was preparing for the interview, looking at the photos of Earth Kitchen.
Thanks.
So you also mentioned going back to when you joined the family business. So you mentioned earlier that you had two elder brothers who were already in the business. Diba? So what was the process like for you joining in and eventually, taking over as the CEO of the business?
Okay, so I was pretty reluctant in the beginning, but my eldest brother expressed that he's a pharmacist. So he expressed that he really wanted to focus on the production side. So the pharmacy-related, pharmaceutical, regulatory, R&D related, which is a huge job already for him. And then my other brother decided to study law. So he also couldn't focus. So there, I was the only one left because it was just three of us. And then I'm super duper close with my parents, and I really wanted to help them out also. And also, like my friends in the field will have been telling me that you've been working with so many communities, helping so many people out since you were 13. Now your family needs your help. You can't possibly say no to them. So So I was reluctant, but at the same time, I really wanted to give back also to my parents because they've been so good to me. Given them so much headaches already. Parang it's my
it's time to pay it back.
Yeah, parang it's payback time. So it's been 12 years since I took over, and things have been pretty okay naman. Smooth and nice. So I feel balanced.
What are the products under Greenstone? Of course, Katinko is the most popular. Like, do you have other products under Greenstone?
So we have alcohol. So Katinko has different variants, like sports spray, the oils, massage oils. We're coming out with a lot of other things 2021. So it's pretty exciting too.
Nice. So when you joined the company until now, what has been the biggest siguro maybe transition or transformation in the business, if any, from when you first joined until now, 12 years into running the company?
It's probably the growth, which of course I can't attribute it all to myself, but for the past 12 years, it's really the biggest success that I could say is probably business growth, and also like a really good relationship in the family, with especially between me and my dad, because he started the company and I had to navigate through the
Mm.
the chairman CEO dynamics as well as the father daughter relationship. It's
Yes.
been quite smooth, and that's something that I'm really happy with beyond like financial gains.
For those who are listening, like maybe for those who don't have that type of experience or family dynamic, na you have a business that your father started or a parent started, and then you're taking over. Can you give our listeners siguro a glimpse of parang what are the main challenges or parang um, yeah, siguro parang challenge the major challenges of that kind of dynamic, and how do you best navigate that kind of situation?
Okay, so it's quite challenging if because I lived with my parents, so it's been quite hard to kind of not have office hours where you get
Mm.
home and you still talk about business and it's just and as soon as you haven't opened your eyes you'll get parang bombarded with questions. So it kind of gets a bit it kind of gets a bit nerve wracking sometimes, but and then sometimes your business goals would be different. Of course, the way you manage things would be different. And but you're talking to your dad, but he's also your chairman. He's the founder of the company, and you're the CEO. So you also kind of, parang kind of try to navigate that. But what what I had to tell myself from the very beginning was that I'm a daughter first, a CEO second.
Mm.
So it kind
Okay.
of puts me in my place.
Yeah, that's
So
deep, huh? I mean, for those who are listening, that's actually quite deep, huh? So, sige, go on.
because I've seen so many cases where parents and children fight over family businesses and things. It's such a normal occurrence.
Hmm.
And little did I know that a better relationship is more of an outlier than a good one when it's family dynamics. So that I just kept on putting that to my head that because I'm super close with my dad since I was little. I'm such a daddy's girl. He has no choice. I'm his favorite daughter, so I'm the only one. but, but but conversely, he's my only dad, right? So I said, okay,
Yeah.
I will put myself in my position and be a daughter first. So I gave him. I'm still like as much as I can, give him so as much respect as I can because he started the company. I'm also a founder myself for
Hmm.
my own social enterprise. So I kind of understand the intensity of really having your vision in place and having someone make sure that it's taken care of. So I give him that. Sometimes we have different ways of doing things. So I tell him my suggestion and he listens to me. But what I usually do is that if we're really like not meeting eye to eye, I follow him first. And if it works, then it works, and I'm happy. If it doesn't work, then I tell him, okay, can I do Plan B? And then he says yes. And then eventually it just became smooth after that. Like so I asked him for advice because I know how founders are because I am a founder. Diba? Parang I asked him for advice to make sure that he's still involved because that's how I also want to be with the ones that I founded that, for major decisions, I also still want to be consulted. So I do
Yeah.
that. And
So
then,
have you reached a
yeah.
point where have you reached a point now where your dad sort of just yeah, do whatever, I like complete trust in every decision that you have?
Yeah, he always tells me that. My dad's very vocal. I think that's his language of love, like verbal
Mm.
affirmation. He's been telling me that for quite some years now, but I still make it a point to like every time I remember or when I'm not rushing to make a decision, I still ask him just to be sure that we're aligned, and we seem to be aligned most of the time, 99% of the time maybe. And he said that he trusts me, and I think it's really something that I feel really fulfilled with that beyond monetary gains. That trust and respect that we've given each other through these years.
That's really powerful to hear. And the reason why, going back to what you said earlier, and the reason why I love hearing that, and I wanted to make sure to highlight that when you said that you're a daughter first, more than a like first before a CEO, it's because I think that speaks a lot. I think to your character, no, na yung the ego is not getting in the way of the right perspective, which is what like what you said about your dad started it. So even if you're taking over as a CEO, you're not letting that title of CEO sort of cloud your judgment or your ego. Na parang you still navigated that transition with a lot of respect for your dad, and I think that's very healthy to learn. I think for anyone who's listening, who's running their own business, or maybe it doesn't even have to be, let's say, a parent and a child, transition. And even for those who, let's say, are married and are working together, diba? I think it's also important to keep that in mind. When you look at each other, it's husband and wife first, more than business partners or CEO, COO, or whatever the case may be, diba? I think that helps, especially because in running a business, and like what you said, parang hindi mo pa rin maiwasan, diba, to have disagreements, diba, with when it comes to the decision, or yung direction for the company. So it's important to be able to separate that, and always remember na the relationship is at the heart of the yung parang yung the interactions. It's not the titles, diba, in the business.
Yeah, it's really relationship first, and then the titles are just subsets.
Nice. So what? Speaking of being a CEO, naman, like what do you think is your parang secret sauce, or what is your main strength as as a CEO?
I think it's being trustworthy. Trust has been something that my dad has instilled in us as a value, like one of the most important, if not the most important value. So there's we it so it encompasses everything, like paying your suppliers timely, and treating your people well, not shortchanging anybody. So at the end of the day, you feel that you're balanced. You didn't step on somebody, or you also didn't allow people take advantage of you, something like that. Probably that. So my people know that, our employees know that they're really taken care of. Like during this pandemic, we tried as much as we can to really take care of them, and they in turn took care of our company. It's like a give and take.
Speaking of people, how would you describe your hiring principles? Like, what do you look for the most in the people that you hire?
So we have different criteria. So we have a factory. So in the factory, we took out all of those barriers. So they just really need to be masipag and have that initiative. We took out educational barriers, or gender barriers, whatever barrier. Because in the factory naman, they just really need to be masipag. They don't need a lot of, intellectual, analytical, whatever. So we have people who just graduated from second grade and things like that. This is really, even PWDs can work with us, so long as, of course, diba, they do their part of the job. So before now, we even hired elderly people. Pero there was this one particular one that just really stopped the line. Parang it just kind of pauses when it comes. People were like, "Ma'am naman, alam namin gusto mo tumulong, pero hindi kami nakaka-quote." Like, but we really try to but so I just try to look for another jumper. Parang it's really. So there's really no criteria. They have to be kind. Of course, they can't. Like attitude's important. So we just tell them, okay, performance, attendance, and character. That's it. No education, whatever. Even husbands and wives can work together.
Okay.
No,
All right.
no, not much of those. But if if they fight with if the people around them, or if they're not trustworthy, of course, more values and
Yeah.
hard work related. For the people around me, I'm very picky with my management team. They really have to show malasakit for the company. It means really going, it's really going beyond what's expected of them, and they have to really show that, because there are so many things that are beyond the the what's that, when you hire somebody, that description, the job description.
Yeah.
Yeah, there, and running a company, there's so many things that could go beyond that, and you can't have somebody who's super calculative about, oh, that's not my job, something like that. So if there's something, everyone should be ready to jump in and help out. So that's really important for me.
So with Katinko, with Greenstone, with Katinko, how has it been, in terms of like, so you're like from when you took over until now, like how big has the growth been, and what do you attribute it to? Is it more the distribution side, or is it the innovation with the products? Kasi like, di ba, like, people, we can all see all the new products diba, sa billboards, all along EDSA. Parang we always see that like new product innovations. So what do you attribute the success of the brand to the most? Parang like, if there are other entrepreneurs out there who might not be in the same field, but maybe they have a product or they have a product business like that, na like what should they focus on to be able to grow the brand the way that you've grown Katinko?
Sorry, my answer is kind of cliche-ish, but it's like a combination of so many things. It's really, of course, first maybe it would be our sincerity, because it's a healthcare product, right? So with how it's been formulated, we've been super true to it. But there are times when the raw materials are like so expensive, but we've never shortchanged our products. And so that quality's always been the same or even better. We always try to, we do all the tests. We're super OA with the tests to make sure that they're the best quality can give out. Also, like the most important thing is really the relationship we've had with our customers. So for such a mass-based product, I guess the trust that the customers have given us is something that we always have to live up to. We never, any small complaint, we look into it, check all of our retention batches, check everything to make sure that we didn't lapse on anything. Everything's really there. That we're super sincere with that. So I think it's something that's helped us through these years.
Speaking of product development, where would you like, or how would you siguro rate um, our level or our capability as a country compared to the rest of the world when it comes to product development, especially with pharmaceuticals?
So in terms of the more complex ones, like with example with the vaccine now, I still think we're a bit lagging in that department. But at the same time, we have so much biodiversity to work with. We have so many farmers, we have so much forest. I mean, if we take care of them, of course. We have so much indigenous knowledge on and local herbs and things like that. So I think while we can't as of yet, compete with the molecular level of pharmaceutical development, there's also this huge wave of going back to, natural remedies, which I think we can really, bank on if we really just take the time to look into those. So that's what we're also looking into with the Gut Heart Laboratory that we're opening up in 2021. This is
Nice.
It's a merger between everything Gut Heart and everything Katinko Greenstone. It's a completely new social enterprise that I've been personally looking into for so many years now, more than 10 years now, but I just really wanted to be super OC about.
So what will the thrust of the lab be? Like what will be the main focus of the lab?
So it's really, we work with a lot of farmers, right? But sometimes there are farmers or communities that have tons and tons of everything. Example, one of my pain points have been selling so much luya. Because I
Mm,
said, okay,
yeah.
so Ginger, how many earth kitchens should I put up to
To be
absorb
able
like
to use
20
such
tons
a
of
ginger.
ginger? So even this typhoon doesn't use, like, they're the ones that use so much ginger, like with a xiaolong bao, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, ha. So and then I look at Greenstone, and I process all of these shipments. I mean, you do all of the purchases go through me, and there are tons and tons and tons of things. And I'm like, and so why don't we develop something ginger related, Katinko? So that's something there. So, and then we
Mm,
did a lot of experimentations and studies. But that's just one. We're looking at a lot of other things. And my heart breaks every time I see farmers, throwing away like tomatoes and things like
yeah.
that. So that the task of the lab would be to process these things in bulk, so we can
Nice.
finally, do something about them, turn them into either B2B products or B2C products, since we're capable of doing both anyway, at least
Yeah.
for now. Yeah, there. I
So
really
when you
don't
say
want to see anything
B2B,
wasted. Yeah.
so when you mentioned B2B, so you're open to working with other entrepreneurs who might have a need for a certain raw material, and then now you can process it for them.
Yeah. So because the main goal is really to get as much, to purchase as much as we can from the communities, right? To get a lot of the products instead of them throwing them away. So I'm gonna experiment first on the things that I can control, which is the Gothard Lab and Katinko. So I'm gonna experiment first on that. So when I make mistakes, it's just me who's gonna get affected. And then when there's really like a lot of supply, because the supply thing, when communities see that it's actually a viable product, I'm sure they will produce more. So if it's beyond our capacity, then we can offer it to other companies too, or maybe export or something. But it'll be our jump off point for that.
Nice, nice. So what about you've been a founder, you've been running your own you've been a founder and a CEO for over 13 years now. What is there a particular mistake that you've learned the most from over the years?
Yeah, I've been so hard on myself. So I mentioned earlier that I've gone through like bouts of depression. It's just been so hard on myself. And luckily I'm married to like such a chill person who balanced me out and just, allowed me to breathe, chill out, enjoy life. Because if you're not okay, none of it will be okay, right? I mean, it's also going to be
Yes.
hard to interact with communities, with employees, or it'll be hard to. Because like my line of work needs me to always be on my toes, always innovating, always like creating systems or solutions or something like that, or like new ideas. But if I'm not okay, everything goes down. So now I'm just really more trying to live a more balanced life, more exercise, more meditation, more forgiving of myself and the people around me, also trying to be kind. Of course, I'm super not perfect yet. But there are times when I still kind of like, what in the world? But parang, okay, chill, chill, chill. Breathe in, out. So it's more kind to myself and to everyone around me.
do you
It's a work
do you
in progress.
experience self-doubt?
Yeah, all the time. So but when you're kinder to yourself, you kind of allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them. So my dad, when I started with the business, I kept on making mistakes, like expensive mistakes. So my dad said, "Okay, it's okay to make mistakes," and I'm so hard on myself, right? So I really won't
Mm,
forgive myself. So my dad said, "It's okay to fall on the stone, just don't fall on the same stone twice." That's what he tells me. So it kind
okay.
of helped me out in a bit. So, okay, so so far I've been making different mistakes naman. So, learning from different, like, that's an MBA already. That's a full MBA. It's kind of. So, there. Didn't learn that in school, no. Like, yeah.
Nice, nice. Um, So in those moments like that, where you mentioned the people around you, sort of maybe giving you a pep talk, but ikaw mismo, like how would you describe the self talk? Going through your mind, when you're going through these bouts of self doubt, and how do you how would you describe the self talk and process it in a way to get you out of that funk?
Yeah, so I could be really hard on myself. I tell myself I'm so stupid. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's like
Yes.
I don't know band but I'm so stupid. Okay, but and then I think of like, okay, how do I fix it? What do I do next? Okay, if I'm so hard on myself, then I can't get out of have to get out of this rut as soon as I can. So there, and then that's how then the whole downing myself thing gets a bit shorter. I still have it, but it's a bit shorter now. It doesn't take like days anymore. It just takes me a few minutes, and then um, so then how do I fix this? How do I learn from this? Okay, what's next? Then
Mm.
more of that. Like, okay, if I put myself down and if I tell myself that I'm stupid all the time, what next? Maybe I'm gonna get more stupid and I want to get more stupid. So that's like a quick clip of how my head kind of works. Just real talk. Yeah.
How about let's say if you could switch places with another CEO for a day, any CEO either in the Philippines or anywhere in the world, if you can switch places with that CEO for a day and sort of run their company, see what it's like inside their company for a day, who would it be and why?
Wow. Hmm. That's a bit uh who's that? Oh wait. There are several. I've been listening to so many like master classes and podcasts. Who's that guy? Sorry. Bob Iger. Disney.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, just to
Right?
see
I
what it's
mean,
like there, no?
yeah, because it's so magical and I love creative stuff and art too. So that's why I like Katinko suddenly had this art box thing. 'Cause it's been yeah, but really
Nice.
like creative and it is the left and right whole brain thing. It's
Yeah.
very great. Yeah. So it's yeah, might be fun to run that.
Um.
Really stressful, but it seems like he's having fun and I wanna get into
Yeah.
that. I'm trying to really infusing I'm trying to infuse fun into things. So I like how he's been doing that.
Speaking of Bob Iger, so he has that book that came out last year. Do you have any book recommendations or maybe like a particular book that has made the biggest impact in your life?
There's there's this classic book. It's Good to Great, right? I'm sure you've
Yeah.
read it,
Hmm.
read that, and it really talks about CEOs going beyond themselves and really putting ego aside, like what you mentioned earlier. Come to think of it, it's probably it's such an important value to at least for me and the work that I do, because with a family business, it's really my family who's center stage there, and with God Heart, it's really the community that's center stage there, and it talks about you know whoever like we can it's there's this line there that says that you can pretty much achieve anything so long as you don't care who takes credit for it, something like that.
Mm, yes.
So I think that's like a summary of my life. I mean, I'm really not particular with whoever takes credit. I'm really happy if the things that we need to do gets done, like the community. If they take center stage, that's actually our goal for them to take center stage and for them to own that success. So so it might not be good debate in terms of like the leaps and bounds of those examples and those books, but in terms of my personal life goals and meaning, I really want like my dad to be happy, my family, my son to be, to be okay, and the communities to be okay, and that's greatness for me. So that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that
Nice.
book in that context for my life.
Okay. I'm not sure how you feel about tattoos now, but this is a question I've been thinking about a lot lately during the holiday break, and I wanted to start asking this question to my guests this year. So, if you had to get a tattoo of any of a brand logo, it has to be a logo of a brand, and it cannot be your brand. Any other brand, and you really had to, like, talagang you cannot get out of it, you have to get a tattoo, which brand would it be, and and where would you put the tattoo?
I'm not sure if you know that I have a tattoo. I
Oh, I
actually
don't know.
do, but it's. I'm
Okay.
not sure if it's not a corporate brand, but it's the brand of the Kalinga community.
Okay.
Tawang Odd, the Tawang Odd tattoo. It got it in 2011, so it's bigger than the three dots that she does now. Not sure if that's
Okay.
counted, but I actually do have it, and
So
I got
if you
it
had to
from
get
her
another tattoo, yeah,
of a
second
brand,
tattoo,
corporate
of a
brand.
brand, corporate brand, yeah. Let's say you lost a
Uh,
bet and really had to get a tattoo. So
like an Apple
which brand would
logo
you
or
choose?
something,
Ah,
like the
okay, that's
small
nice. That's yeah,
apple, maybe that.
okay.
Yeah,
That's a
because
nice safe answer.
it's cute and it's innovative. It talks about it
Yeah,
has a nice brand value. Actually, use it. Yeah.
nice, nice. How about this? Okay, so let's say you had to, or let's say you're organizing a dinner, and you can invite five guests, dead or alive, like your five ideal dinner guests, dead or alive.
Okay.
Who would be the five people?
Oh, dead or alive.
Yeah.
Princess Diana, because of her
Oh,
charity work, right? And how she was able to make it so hip. I mean, that kind that doesn't make it feel like you're so, parang that you're so suffering with it. She seemed like she was enjoying it. I really like that.
yeah.
Ellen DeGeneres, she's so
Ooh.
funny. When I was pregnant, I kept on watching her, kept on laughing and crying at the same time. So I was bed rested for 3 months, so just so happy.
Oh,
She's there. Um, mm, Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan.
oh,
Mm,
nice.
Either or. So because I only have two seats left, so
Okay.
either whoever is available. um, who else? Um, Barack Obama, so eloquent
Nice.
and elegant,
Yeah.
or Michelle Obama, whoever is available also.
Available. Not them as a couple. Isa
Pwede
lang.
rin. Pero sayang isa pang seat. Just we want diversity here. um, and huh, who else? Mm, let's bring in Walt Disney.
Oh, nice
There.
choice. Galing, galing. All right. That's an interesting dinner for sure.
Combination of different
Yeah, you have
personalities and
royalty, you have an athlete, president, comedian. Galing, galing. All right. Okay, so we're heading like towards the latter part of the show, and as always, I have three questions that I always ask all the guests, and they all pertain to legacy. Um, the first question is, knowing everything that you know now. Okay, if you went back in time to the day that you decided to start Got Heart, let's say, so yung the first day that you decided, okay, I'm gonna start my own foundation, and let's say you went back to that specific moment when you made that decision, and you have exactly 1 minute lang to just talk to yourself, what would you say to yourself?
mm, okay. So first is to be clear on the goals, which has been crystal clear from the beginning. But in the process of doing so, be kind to yourself and to others as well. And just that, cycle of kindness would bring you a long way. And if you're tired, rest. Just rest first. And then tomorrow is gonna be another day. It's okay to rest.
Nice. Okay. So the second question naman would be, what else are you looking to accomplish over the next 10 years? I think you touched on a little bit with what you're doing with the Gotthard Lab, but aside from that, like what else are you looking to accomplish over the next 10 years?
Yeah, for the next 10 years, it's really just growing everything that we've already started from our, like the ones that we've been working on. So we have, so Katinko, Gotthard as a social enterprise, Gotthard as the laboratory. I have my art thing also going on. So several exhibits this year. So I plan on really continuing with my professional art life. And we're also working on several industrial parks for more scalable impact in terms of really creating employment for the Filipinos because so many lost their jobs. So I've been
Yeah.
intensely working on building these industrial parks.
So when you say industrial parks, like for the benefit of our listeners, like what exactly are these, and how will it benefit employment?
So they're really hectares of land that's going to be dedicated to bring in manufacturing companies. So something that the Filipinos can definitely work on because it's our strength. Really, really hardworking and easy to work with. The thing is, we just don't have a lot of opportunities in terms of jobs. So globally, there's still a lot of opportunities that we can bring into our country so that people won't have problems, with getting employed. And so many people get repatriated during this pandemic. So we really need local jobs. And I really believe that because while we do have a lot of, Filipinos overseas, there's still that problem of, families getting separated and things like that. So if we create local employment and local opportunities, that's gonna that's gonna help generations of kids to grow up with a whole family, right? So that's something I've been really passionate about also. And I'm so happy that my family's on board with it, and we've also gotten a lot of opportunities and support from other people who believe in this cause and are happily working with us in this process of developing industrial parks.
Nice. I definitely support that.
Thank
Especially the idea of not of our countrymen not needing to be separated from their families just to be able to find meaningful livelihood. Because I think it's a sad reality I hear na they can easily get paid 5 to 10 times more doing the same kind of work if they do it in other countries. So I think if we can provide better, not just jobs, but like better paying jobs here, diba?
Yeah.
More valuable employment here. I think that's really the way for our country to progress without needing to send out our best talents.
Yeah. So
Cool.
hopefully you get it.
So before I ask the final question, I just wanted to acknowledge you first, Melissa, for being an inspiration for the work that you do and how you do it. Your approach to employment, to empowering communities, and really serving these communities, especially during this time, and not being content with what you've done so far, and continuing to build and to want more for the betterment of other people. I just wanted to acknowledge you for that, for the work that you're doing. So
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge you too, if I may, I listened to several of the podcasts. I really learned a lot. So thanks for creating this platform for people to exchange knowledge and learn from each other.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the very final question that I wanted to ask you is, how do you, Melissa Yeung Yap, want to be remembered?
I don't really need to be remembered. um, it's yeah. So I don't really, but I hope that the work that we do, at least like if we put up these, like example, the industrial parks or something, I hope it continues doing its job of creating livelihoods. Got heart. I hope it continues its job in creating opportunities. I hope Katinko continues its job in creating quality products for the Filipino people, and also to be a nice Filipino brand for a worldwide that would eventually be a word. So personally, I don't really need to be remembered as me, but the things that we've been working on, I hope they continue doing their purposeful, meaningful jobs. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And on that note, I think we can end the episode on that note. Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing and for being an inspiration. I hope that our listeners will get a lot. I'm sure they'll get a lot of inspiration from the work that you do, and make sure to. Yeah, I'll make sure to link all the accounts and website of Gotthard and Greenstone and Earth Kitchen.
Thank you so much, Kendrick. Thank you so much to all of those listeners who got this far into the podcast.
Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review the show on iTunes. It will help more people discover the show. You can also share a screen cap of the show on your social media accounts. Make sure to tag me and let me know which part of the episode you like or didn't like. All feedback is certainly welcome, so feel free to reach out to me on Instagram @KendrickCo to let me know what topics you'd like to be covered next and who you want to hear or learn from in future episodes. Until next time, do the work you want to see done, because life's too short to not be creating your life's work.